we supported sanctions and provided Ukraine with light.
It has been a long diplomatic tradition that one has to visit Kyiv before going to Moscow. But this is not kind of a huge disappointment that we cannot live with. This is more a tactical thing. The strategy here is this. The UN Secretary General, the fact that Russia agreed to receive him can mean two things. First, it's a trap for him, diplomatic trap, as many other foreign officials were trapped visiting Moscow and played around just to show the supremacy of Russian diplomacy and how great they are and how they dictate the world how to behave. So this may be a trap, and I do not exclude that. But I count on the wisdom of Secretary General to escape that trap and actually to prevail in this situation. Second, they may be ready to discuss something with him. And our request to him is instead of focusing on broad issues like full and comprehensive ceasefire, which is important, but we see what Russia does on the battleground, it's simply not feasible, he should focus primarily on one issue, evacuation of Mariupol. This is really something that UN is capable to do. And if he demonstrates political will, character and integrity, I hope that will allow us to make one step forward.
To talks, they also choose acting against God's. But that speaks for one fact. Ukraine seeks peace, Russia seeks war. This is it.
Since the very first weeks of Russia's occupation of additional territories in Ukraine, we saw a clear difference between the way they behaved in the east, in the northeast of Ukraine, Kharkiv, Sumy, Kyiv, and in the south. In those three areas, they behaved like occupants. And they basically used these territories as behind the front line area. But in the south, since their first kind of territorial achievements, they started to they started attempts to absorb these territories. It was clear from day one. They failed. The reason they failed is because the local population, to the Russian dissatisfaction, is not willing to cooperate with them at a scale necessary to ensure integration of these territories. So this is why we made it clear, my president I think made this point very clear, that referendums in Kherson or elsewhere in the south are also a red line for Ukraine. And I want to be crystal clear on this, as my president said it a number of times, and this is really the position that we want to be heard. Ukraine will not agree to the occupation of any single inch of our territory.
Events that took place on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, Russian missiles.
If anyone in the West still believes, let's convince Ukraine for the sake of stopping the war, agree with the Russian presence in the south, this is not the case. We learned the lesson of 2014-16 when we fought the war in Donbass. This is not going to repeat. My president has a very principled position on this. We will fight until we liberate our territories.
Events that took place on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, Russian missiles.
If I was not confident in Ukraine's victory, you and I wouldn't be talking now. I would be already either killed or in exile. But I'm sitting here in Kyiv, my president is in Kyiv, the entire government is here. Something that very few in the world believed would happen on the 22nd, on the 23rd of February. Now, we proved two things. We proved that we are not afraid of the Russians. And second, we know how to fight and prevail. It's difficult, it comes at a cost, it's painful, but this is the war, and we have no other choice but to win. And I'm sure that we will.
I think in the last 2 months of the war,
I hope I was not too long in answering the last question, but I think you had to understand this.
This was very good. No,
yeah.